Here again, a lot of slicing and dicing, dead hookers, and pumpkin spice. Speaking of pumpkins, Halloween, you know, the jack-o'-lantern logo, so I figured perfect shirt for this. I'm just going to list another 10 random good slasher movies that I think you should check out since it's Halloween season. Nothing again from the 3 or 4 major franchises, because let's face it, everybody fucking talks about them anyway. And maybe I'll do those in my favorite all-time slasher lists. I have a couple popular ones here. One is a franchise. And, yeah, so let's just get right down to it and start. Because, you know, I don't want to make this overly long since not a lot of people watch anyway. Starting off is the series. This was just on top here. So I'm going in no particular order. And that's the Slumber Party Massacre series. I mostly like the first movie. It's actually directed by a feminist. You know, the driller killer, you know, he breaks into the slumber party and, you know, doesn't really need to be talked about. Escapes from a mental institution. Same shit as a lot of movies. But the second one is really screwed up. I don't like it. Some people love it because you just have to see it to believe it. The killer is totally out there. Rockabilly music and dancing and singing. It's like a musical slasher film, Elvis style. It's really weird. And the third is like reverts back to the first one. I actually don't mind the third one. And the token black guy gets killed by a for sale sign in a yard. So what's that tell you? And he's one of the first to die. So yeah, check out this series. It's really underrated. It's one of my favorite slasher series. So Slumber Party Massacre. Second is another pretty popular among horror fans, but never talked about as much, unlike the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of his, and that's The Funhouse. This might be personally my favorite Tobe Hooper film, that or the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And that's getting rebooted again, Leatherface again, from what I read. But anyway, I always like horror films that take places at carnivals, like even Hellfest a couple years ago, you know, Dark Ride. It's just something about carnivals. But yeah, the Frankenstein-like character, monster killer in this is pretty cool looking. There's not a lot of blood, there's not a lot of kills, but I enjoy the atmosphere. A lot of people like it, a lot of people think it's boring. I mean, to me it's slow for sure, but I really like the mood and the monster of the film, so I would check it out. Number, I guess, 8 is going to be The Initiation. This stars Daphne Zuniga, who is also in The Dormant Drip Blood and a lot of 80s movies like Spaceballs and the Shore Thing with John Cusack. Basically, it's another hazing film like Pledge Night, and there's Hell Night. The Initiation is basically breaking into a store in the mall, but the killer's inside and there's not alone. Actually, I think Janet Leigh of I believe Psycho's in this, if I remember correctly. I haven't seen it in a long time, but yeah, there's not a lot of blood or gore in it, but it's actually a pretty decent film. It's one of the better slasher movies that nobody talks about. So I would highly recommend checking it out. Another, like I said, another mall-based movie like Chopping Mall or Phantom of the Mall. Mall settings make for great horror flicks, especially like Dawn of the Dead, the original. Great setting. Number 7, I'm going to go with the Giallo. It's not necessarily a slasher film, but they share so many qualities. This is What Have They Done to Your Daughters? It's from, I think, 74. Basically, a guy goes around on like this moped motorbike with a biking helmet on, targeting these innocent girls. The wardrobe with the biking helmet and the black vest and pants was done so many times afterwards. Like another underrated one, even though they don't show any kills, it's almost all cut, is Night School with the same outfit. Great movie. The Nail Gun Massacre, and the other one is Nightmare Beach or Welcome to Spring Break from the late 80s. That's one of my favorite ones, actually. Probably my favorite one of the 4. That was all done by, I think, Umberto Lenzi under a different name because he didn't want to have anything to do with it. But it has a great soundtrack. But this is actually a pretty good giallo. It takes place in Italy, and a lot of the like the chase scene at the end, and throughout the movie, you can see the scenes. I think it's Rome. I'm not sure if it's Rome or Milan, but I have to go back and watch it. But I did enjoy the film. Number 5 is a controversial film, and that's Clown House. More of a thriller horror film than a slasher movie, but it has similar qualities of slasher films. Also directed by Victor Salva, who got in charge for child abuse, and like, I don't know if he raped the young kid that started this movie, Nathan Forrest Winters. But he only did 3 years, and he more famously did the Jeepers Creepers films. And a lot of people won't watch the Jeepers Creepers or give it any like notoriety because of what happened. But actually, if you try to put that behind you and just take the movies he did for what they are, this one's a hell of a good film. I mean, you know, you got serial killers disguise themselves as clowns and terrorize 3 children in their house. It's a pretty good movie. It's a lot of tension. It's not really, like I said, it's not a lot of blood or killing, but I really like it. That's a bootleg. The actual real copy of this movie is so freaking expensive. So, yeah. Number 5, I think. Yeah, I can't count worth of shit. Just Before Dawn. This is another backwoods, Wrong Turn-esque hillbilly killer film. Sort of like The Prey, or more famously, Wrong Turn, but the forefather of this. There's also another one called Hunter's Blood in the mid-'80s, which I've never seen, but I want to see it. This was directed by the guy that did Squirm, and there's another famous film he did. I can't... Blue Sunshine. That was really weird. But yeah, Jeff Lieberman said this was his favorite movie. It has, I think, George Kennedy. He was in so many different shit. George Kennedy, like Demon Warp and all those. He was basically in a bunch of horror films later in his career. I would really recommend watching this. There's a couple decent scenes, especially when I think it's the rope bridge scene. I'm pretty sure, or I haven't seen it for a long time, where they cut the cord and the guy falls. It's really good. The ending's very strange. How, well, you just have to see it. How the killers get killed off in the end, or the killer. I think it's 2 killers, but yeah, it's a really good backwoods slasher film. Wrong Turn, way like 20 years later, or before Wrong Turn. So it's kind of like the forefather of that backwoods movie. Number 4 is one of my favorite slasher films of all time. Easily top 5. Top 10 for sure. Probably top 5, and that's Maniac. This is the Laserdisc version. And Joe Spinell, or however he pronounced it, did a perfect job in this. A lot of people prefer the remake, but I don't watch remakes very rarely I do, unless I really, really want to. I'm not a big fan of Elijah Wood, but they said it's really good remake, so maybe I'll check it out eventually. But the shotgun scene, of course, in this film is one of the best kills of all time. Tom Savini playing the role and the special effects. Just the guy talks to mannequins and rips the scalps off of women. Yeah, it's just, you have to watch it. I mean, if you think about somebody going nuts, Maniac is the perfect title for this movie. It's one of my favorite films of all time. Nothing more really needs to be said about it. So that's 4. Coming in at 3 is Bad Dreams. This fucking glare on these bigger laser discs is hard to get rid of. But yeah, Bad Dreams is basically a ripoff, in a good way, of Nightmare on Elm Street, where basically this woman survives this cult suicide, sort of like Jim Jones, but like a smaller detail, and is still traumatized by the event, and she's in like this, I don't know if it's like a hospital or like a treatment center or treatment facility for people that need help mentally, and the spirit of this guy still takes over everybody she gets to know. And basically, like I said, it's a Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff, but I like it a lot. It's actually pretty good. I highly recommend checking it out. If you like Friday, or goddamn, I got Friday 13th on my mind. Jason Voorhees Ring. If you like Nightmare on Elm Street, you would love this film. You might feel it's a ripoff, but I don't know. I kind of like cults and ideas, like with cults, and when they're tied into movies, just makes for a win-win situation. I had this on bottom, but I ain't gonna leave it last because this movie is the worst one of the bunch. And I just threw it up there because it's Halloween time, and Linnea Quigley's in it for 5 minutes. She dies, shows her tits like typical Linnea Quigley style, and that's Jacko. Try to get that glare out of here. Anyway, basically this spirit of this dead, person that was killed 100 years before is resurrected when somebody like desecrates the grave site, and a killer jack-o'-lantern appears and kills people. It's a very terrible film. I might go back and watch it since it is Halloween related with a jack-o'-lantern. It's not hack-o'-lantern, or even Haunted Ween. Those are better than this one. I've only seen clips of both of those. I don't have either one, but they can't be worse than this. But I might go back and watch it just for shits and giggles since it's that time of year, and I've only seen it a couple times, and it's been a long time. So Jacko, the worst one of this list in my opinion, but check it out if you can find it. It's pretty rare, especially on Laserdisc. And the last one is another one I'm going to put in, Lucio Fulci movie. Pretty damn famous. It's been on Turner Classic Movies a few times in the last couple years, and that's The House by the Cemetery. Nothing more really needs to be said about this movie either. You know, the guy that owned the house is still living as a dead zombie, but has to drink and kill on the people, the living, to survive. There's a couple really good scenes in it. The kill with like the maid is amazing. It's pretty damn brutal. And that fucking kid though, Bob, holy shit. If you want to talk about the most annoying character in any film, that son of a bitch has to take the cake, or close to it. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. So that's my list of 10 just random horror films to check out. Nothing from the major big franchises because, like I said, everybody talks about them. So anyway, let me know what you think if you've seen these movies, or give me any ideas on what other movies I should cover related to these, because I collect horror and slasher movies. And as always, don't have sex, do drugs, or have your car break down in the middle of the woods, because you know you won't be right back. So yeah, let me know what you think of my video. I'll leave a link to another video again, like I always do. Just subscribe at the bottom. So as always, rock on, keep it cheesy with horror, and I'll talk to you later.